Welcome to TalkFCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. Happy Sunday to all of you today, and we are going to be discussing about some insider topics in the world of Barcelona, and that's all coming from Eric Abidal's exclusive interview with Sport this morning in Barcelona. Of course, the daily sports newspaper sat down with Abidal and talked over a number of really intriguing topics, and we're going to be breaking down everything Abidal said in today's video. And I was actually sat there and I was thinking, should I do this? Should I not? Because I've got to say, some of the statements, some of the quotes in here, I would say are not good. I didn't really like what I was hearing from Abidal, and that surprised me in some ways, and I was debating whether or not to make this video. But at the end of the day, it's not my job to hold things back. It's not my job to paint a false picture. I'm here, guys, to bring you the news, and that's why today, for good or for bad, we're talking about Abidal's interview and exactly what's going on. And before we do begin with the quotes, I want to say that I admire Abidal as a player, and also, of course, without doubt, as a person. He's an inspiration to many of us, and I do think, deep down, he's a really, really good guy. But of course, working alongside Bartomeu, working alongside the current regime at Barcelona, he has come in for criticism, and I think rightly so, as has everybody at the club, from the board to the players, and likewise Eric Abidal. A lot of people didn't like these statements, and I think you can see why. But I do think it's important to look at these exclusive interviews simply because it does bring a different kind of level to the insight that you can get at Barcelona. He talks about things here that we do want to know. We do want to know what the club are thinking. That's the important thing right now. And let's kick off straight away with Abidal saying right now he believes there's no question in his mind this team, this squad are better than the previous years. He said, look, this is a better team. We've got better players. We've brought in new signings. We strengthened the squad. This right here is a really, really good group. And he believes that Barca this season are capable of challenging for all trophies. And he came out and said, at Barca, we've got to win everything. We've got to go out there and challenge for every single title. We won't hide from that. We won't hide behind goals. We must compete, and we know that. And that's good words. That's fighting talk, and that's exactly right. At Barcelona, the only challenge is for everything. You've got to be at your best. You've got to go out there and try, and certainly he believes we can do that. And one of those signings, of course, brought in this summer to make us stronger was Antoine Griezmann, who I think Abidal, to be fair, was pretty frank about in this interview. He said, I talk with Griezmann a lot. He's in a different position right now at Barcelona, which the adaptation has not been easy. He said he's got to make different movements. He's got to adapt the team to a new role, to a new style. He said he knows right now he's not at his best level. Abidal there saying Griezmann is not his best, and he said that's only going to be fixed by working hard. Many top players have joined Barca and struggled in their first year. The philosophy here is not easy. Only time will help Antoine Griezmann. So interesting words there from Abidal, openly admitting that Griezmann right now is struggling in that new position, out on the left-hand side. He doesn't really say about any plans to bring him in central, so that's interesting to note. But now we do move on to the big topics. We're going to be talking now about Ernesto Valverde. We're going to be talking about the Liverpool debacle. We start here with Valverde, and Abidal came out straight away and said the words that, to be fair, none of us wanted to hear. He said, we support the coach right now, and he's following on from Bartomeu's words about a week or so ago where he said pretty much the same sort of thing. Abidal said we have full faith in him. There are some clubs that change coaches after some bad results, but you've got to look at the wider picture, and if the coach thinks he can improve, you have to trust him. Well, I personally wouldn't trust Valverde, but maybe that's just me. He was then asked, will this be Ernesto Valverde's final season at Barcelona? Will that contract, of course, which ends in the summer, will that be extended? Abidal said, of course, results are going to be taken into account, but it all depends on how Valverde feels. He will decide whether he wants to continue. The decision will rest with Valverde, which for me is absolute nonsense. Why? How? I just, honestly, guys, I just don't get it. How did Valverde come to get this kind of power? How on earth has somebody like that, who's done pretty much nothing at the club. Yeah, he's won 2 La Liga titles. We all know about that. But look at the players that he's got. How has he come to have this enormous power, this enormous control over his future with the tiny, tiny work that he's actually done? He will decide why. Why is he the man to decide? You decide. You look at those results, and not the results, look at the performances, and then decide on Ernesto Valverde's future. But anyway, let's move on now to Liverpool. He was asked Abidal about the Liverpool result, about the Liverpool performance, what exactly went wrong at Anfield in the Champions League, and he said again something which doesn't exactly inspire me with confidence. He said, from one bad result, people can think the season is a bad one. Well, we also lost the Copa del Rey final, so that's already more than one result. But anyway, from one result, people can think the season is a bad one. Barca fans remember the result at Anfield much more than the game itself. Not really sure what he means by that. He said, we missed a clear goal. If we'd scored, nobody would be talking at Liverpool. It was a very different situation to the Roma game. They were not the same. They were not the same matches. The difference to Liverpool was that one goal, it could have changed everything. It was an accident. That can happen in football, and we simply can't explain it. And this for me is one of the biggest problems when it comes to Barcelona, when you look at Roma, when you look at Liverpool. The biggest problem is they don't actually seem to get it. They seem to think the Roma game, Liverpool game, they're just accidents. They're just freak occurrences. That, yeah, I can see what Abidal is saying in the sense that probably he's alluding to Dembele. Had he scored there at the Camp Nou, it would have been 4-0. Probably Liverpool wouldn't have come back. But even right now, I couldn't guarantee that. I couldn't definitely say that had we won that game 4-0, that we would have got through, because I wouldn't have put it past Liverpool actually putting more goals past us at Anfield to knock us out. And that's the problem. We need to accept that at Anfield, we were dreadful. We need to accept that these players collapsed out there and the coach sat back and watched that happen. Because I feel like right now, and I've felt this way for a long, long time, at the club, they just seem to pretend like something different happened. They just seem to sort of sweep it under the carpet and say, look, we're not going to talk about this again. We're not going to address it. We're just going to forget about it. But you can guarantee if those players are out there in the same sort of situation, you would definitely see all of that happening again, because we don't learn from our mistakes, because we're not willing here to face up to facts. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a freak occurrence, because we've seen it happening now with Barcelona time and time and time again. That's the problem. But if we move on now to Ivan Rakitic, his situation, of course, right now at the club is not exactly going to plan for him. He's very unhappy right now with his playing time. Abidal there was asked about Rakitic. He said the coach already told the player at the start of the season that he was going to be a very, very different season for him than it has been in the past. He said he was told that he was going to play less. I talked to Ivan. I told him that I understood that it was a complicated situation, that he went from playing all the time to playing much less. I said, I'll always be here to support you, but it's a sporting decision that he simply must understand. As a club, if you do want to sell a player though, you've got to put him out there to play, and we hope everything can be solved. And from that, I can certainly get the feeling that Rakitic right now is getting a few minutes here and there. He's getting a few starts, a few sub-appearances, simply because Barca right now just want to put him in the shop window. They just want to say, look, Rakitic is here, Rakitic can still play, come and sign him in the January transfer window. Beyond that, I don't see any future right now for Barcelona. He's clearly been told, look, if you stay, you're not going to play. He did that, he's experiencing that, and Barca in January, I'm absolutely sure they're going to try and get him out the door again. Then we move on to another midfielder out of favour right now. That is young Carlos Alena. Abidal asked there about Alena's future, exactly what that holds and why he's not playing this season. Abidal said he called us last summer to talk about his playing time, talk about his role this season. He wanted to play this season. He really wanted to be out there on the pitch. And we explained in the summer the coach trusted him, and so he stayed. Valverde had his plans, he had his strategy, but many times those can change depending on results and performances throughout the season. Alena's situation is one that needs sorting out. So basically, what Abidal has said there is that in the summer, Alena called him up, and he was basically saying, I want to play. I need to play this season. I want to be somewhere that I can play. Is that here, or have I got to go out on loan to get those minutes? And basically, the club told him, the coach trusts you. And on that explanation, he stayed at Barcelona. And now, he's not playing. Clearly, the coach doesn't trust him. So basically, we lied to one of our own. Over the summer, he's staying now, he's never playing. How on earth was that allowed to happen? And this is a big, big problem right now for Barcelona, and something that, like Abidal says, it's got to be sorted out. And of course, we couldn't have an interview on the inside at Barcelona without a question here on Neymar Jr. They were asked basically about the pursuit of Neymar last summer. Abidal came out and said, look, on a sporting level, there's no doubt at all, Neymar is a player that you've got to sign because there's nobody else like him in the current market. He said last summer we spoke to his dad, which is his agent, and he told me that Neymar wanted to return. The desire was clearly there to come back to the club. But the problem was the economic side of things and how far the club could actually go to bring him back. We negotiated with PSG, but we saw from the beginning that the price was very, very big and we couldn't pay the amount that was asked for Neymar Jr. He said we didn't ask the dressing room at any time who they want to bring in, but we do have a good idea about the players they'd like to come. And Abidal was then straight up asked by the journalist, will Barca try again to sign Neymar and get him back to the club? And Abidal said, we always follow the top players, we monitor how their season is going, and we will never discard Neymar. And that just goes to show, guys, like I kept saying, Neymar remains a genuine possibility. We don't know what will happen. All we know is Barca were very much open to it last summer. Barca didn't get the deal done because of financial issues. Neymar wants to come back, and believe me, they still want to get him back. So that there, guys, was the words of our sporting director, Eric Abidal, on a number of issues right now, both good and bad on the Barcelona front. And of course, I want to know, what are your thoughts? Everything we've heard here, everything that's been said, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below on it all. And I'll be seeing you soon, of course, with more videos. Thanks for joining me today, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll see you soon. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça.